Hey, Jewel fans, I'm Chris.
And I'm Ronnie from the Jewel Writers Archive.
We are here with a little bit of an update for you on the archive. And where do
And
you
the
want to
YouTube
start?
channel.
Yes, the YouTube channel specifically.
Right, and that's one of the reasons why we're actually doing a video right now. So if you tune into our YouTube channel, you can watch this video. But the reason why we wanted to do a quick touch base is because if you've done a YouTube search recently, or even a Google or internet search, and typed in Jewel Writer episodes, something may have not come up that you were
Y'all
expecting.
ain't gonna find nothing.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
So long story, very condensed, and we're going to start off with this, and then we'll kind of elaborate a little bit more. Recently, the copyright holder for Jewel Writers, who apparently is still around, and Jewel Writers is still under a
Yes, as we have
copyright.
been, under the assumption all these years of I don't know what happened to them. They just went into the ether.
Right, just disappeared into the wild magic. They have known about us for some time, actually. And they have even said that they think that we're doing an amazing job keeping the fandom, engaged and keeping the magic alive. But recently they said that they were going to go ahead and start hosting the show on other streaming services. And because of that, they said that they couldn't allow video clips longer than 7 minutes on a social media platform like YouTube. So basically,
Alas.
you will be able to find Princess Gwenevere and the Jewel Riders on paid subscription services like Peacock in the near future. But as for finding it on YouTube specific, it's gonna be a no-go. So that's the sad news. We have a couple of things to elaborate on this, but essentially that's the story, is that we are no longer hosting, as of right now, the complete episodes on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, and we should also note this is not just us, and it's not just our channel. Anybody else who hosted the episodes have also been taken down.
Hmm.
So if you
There's a
got
few
them
here and
from,
there. Like a
yeah,
few episodes kind of like fell through the cracks, but it's not the complete thing. So.
yeah, so you might be able to find what, like Jewel Quest Part 1. Yeah.
Exactly. But I think most of the second season has been taken down. The other thing is that it's not just the American episodes, since we were talking about Princess
Oh,
Gwenevere
yeah, exactly.
specifically. It's also Starla. It is, the French version, the Russian version, the Spanish version, which we just recently hosted, the German version, again, which I just recently posted. So it's like all of those
Hmm.
content that like I've been archiving since 2015. It's a bittersweet moment. It's like I enjoyed editing the episodes. I enjoyed hosting them on our YouTube channel and getting people, like, oh wow, I remember this episode, or I remember this show, or did I dream it up, or whatever it
Your
is.
favorite.
I know, hate like. And then to kind of have it taken down, it's obviously a little disappointing. But at the same time, if the copyright holder has actually come out of the woodwork and been like, hey, we own this. And yes, I mean, they even gave us some of the content. So, and I think that this can probably go into the next conversation. But, they were the ones that provided the Spanish language tracks episodes for us. And they were like, yeah, like we give you your blessing, like go ahead, feel free to share them. And I was like, okay. And same thing with the German episodes. And then to be like, oh no, sorry, like we do appreciate you, but we can't, what did we say, whitelist or whatever that's called? Like we can't, give the blessing to a certain YouTube entity or anything. Like it has to be across the board consistent.
Right. I mean, and it's all about legal defense of copyright,
Hmm.
and I totally get that. And like you said, it's bittersweet because it's like on one hand, this is what we wanted. We
Right.
wanted the copyright holder to reemerge and be like, I want to do something with this.
Hmm.
And but on the other hand, it's like, this has sort of been our baby, and we've put all this work into it, and I know you've spent just like hours and hours editing those episodes.
Hours. Days.
Days,
I mean,
years.
years, exactly. I mean, for anyone who doesn't really understand the extent of what the editing process was, we used the best possible video sources, which were a torrent that has been around since the early days of the Drawers fandom, and we well I we I took the original VHS of Princess Gwenevere because no one else had the Princess Gwenevere episodes anywhere, it seemed. And so I used the commercially released VHS and I digitized them, extracted the audio from that, and then I synced it to the new video that we had from the torrent. So it's the torrent video, it's the VHS audio, and then for the episodes that were not commercially released, I used our own home VHS. And
Yes,
I mean,
things literally recorded from our childhood television and VCRs
right,
in 1995 and 6.
right. But I mean, that seems to be the only source audio that anyone seems to have. And I do mean anyone. So that was the process for that. And then on top of that, with like the logo and things like that, again, the torrent was Starla, and so I used our our VHS and also the commercially released VHS to extract out the Gwenevere logo as well. So that way I clipped it at that scene, when Gwenevere dances down, and then that's the end of the intro song. So it's like it was a lot of editing that went into this. I mean,
These episodes are your Frankenstein's monster.
they are. It lives. It lives. Well, it did at least until a month ago.
Oh, yes.
you know. Um, so yeah, that's the story. I mean, it was a fun project. I love editing it, but obviously it also got the attention of the copyright holder. Do you want to kind of take it from here and talk a little bit, or how do you want to do it?
So, I mean, we had reached out to a number of people years ago about the possibility of them being copyright holders based on, Invincible Entertainment posting stuff on Watch It Kid and, various other entities that we thought were likely, copyright holders, including the current copyright holder who we reached out to like 2 years ago. And we just, within the last couple of months have been in much closer contact with. So I think it's just interesting that, I think we did due diligence in looking for the copyright holder before posting this stuff. And yeah, it's like, I'm definitely grateful we finally found them and know who they are.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's like, to send out that, hey, let's connect. What, like 2 years ago?
Right.
And then to kind of have radio silence. And that's one of the reasons why we assumed, okay, I guess. I mean, it's not technically public domain, but it seems to be free range.
Yeah.
So let's share it. And that was the whole reason. I mean, we weren't trying to make money off of it. We weren't trying to, monetize it in any way as far as the episodes go.
Let me tell you, we have not ever made money off of Princess Gwenevere.
Off of the episodes.
Yeah.
And so we were just like, we want to share them again because no one had the audio. It seemed like everyone was just Starla. It was always Starla, never Gwenevere.
To our great dismay.
I mean, I know we have Starla fans out there. I see you, but yes, Gwenevere is it is the original. It was the original, iteration, and it was the version that we grew up with as well. So I think that it's like, while we're obviously connected over, I was going to say the Jewel Riders, so essentially Tamara and Fallon, but everyone kind of seems to be, no, I'm Gwenevere, no, I'm Starla, the same way, like, I'm Ian, no, I'm Drake. So it's like, there's two fractions of the fandom over here, but, the point is that that's the whole reason why we wanted to share it, was because it was something that we hadn't seen around. No one else really had it. And then Watch It Kid, Invincible Entertainment, hosted selected Gwenevere episodes. So they had a few of the episodes on their website, and it was really a decent video transfer. I think we should also take this time to kind of let fans know, just like with the the Disney cartoons that are being hosted on Disney Plus, Guinevere, or Jewel Riders, is not in 4K. There is no digital source video, like as in like direct from the computer, or it's not a film. It wasn't scanned in a 4K resolution. So there is no high definition video transfer. Any video source that is out there is going to be basically a VHS transfer, or is it CCAM? I know the copyright holder told me specifically what it was, and maybe I could look it up later. But he was just saying, like, this is the way that it was originally when we had saved all the animation. This is the way it was stored, and it's on basically like an analog source. It's not any type of digital. So,
well, yeah, I mean, we're talking about things made in the era of videotape.
mm-hmm.
So we're not talking about, like, how Disney can clean up their movies to look amazing because they're rescanning film. Like, these are just videotapes that were sent to different stations to run.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about tape sources from the 90s, you're never going to get higher than standard definition. Like, your television and your Blu-ray player or PlayStation or whatever may upscale some of those things, but it's never going to be high definition. So I think what we're trying to say is that, like, don't expect high definition to come out of this.
Right. You don't expect the Sunstone, when it turns around in the opening, to come at you and like, wow, like, look at the clarity of this.
Look at the clarity of this 1990s CG.
Exactly. Yes, that Morgana opening is just my favorite thing. I love it, with the Darkstone twirling in the wild magic. But yeah, so the video quality, we have yet to kind of see what it's going to look like. But the copyright holder, in preparation for giving the show over to Peacock, did say that they have some source video. So we will wait and see what that source video looks like. But they did say that they wanted to release the show as Gwenevere. So here enters Ronnie's edits. Apparently, the source videos that were Gwenevere, for whatever reason, were housed, did he say in Europe?
In some warehouse in Europe.
That burned, or something, right?
Yeah. Either they were thrown away, or there was some accident, or...
I don't know where I got burned. I think I immediately...
I think you're thinking of, like, some old movie theater house.
I don't know. Yeah, obviously there's a lot of lost films that have been burned over the years. So I just immediately went to that. Okay, so they were thrown... Why would you even... it's so frustrating. It's like, okay, we just threw away our source content for this cartoon that we made in 1995. Like, whatever. So yes, they have no source audio or video, for that matter, of Gwenevere. But those episodes that Watch It Kid released were Gwenevere, and they had a decent video transfer, so I don't know where they got those from. But we did tell the copyright holder, hey, it looks like Invincible Entertainment has some of those episodes. Maybe they can provide you with some of that content. I don't know. But they did ask us if we could help them out by giving them our source audio that I edited from our commercially released VHS and our 1995 and 96 home videos.
Yeah, to be fair, like, I think we warned them. We're like, this is from a 1995 children's recorded VHS tape. Like,
right.
But if it's the best quality audio that we're going to have, then
Because it's the only audio quality,
then I'm
apparently.
okay with that, because then that means that the Jewel Riders Archive did its job of preserving Gwenevere.
Exactly. I mean, that was our mission from the get-go. So, high five. Yay!
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, I have mixed feelings on this. It's like, I think that when an official company like comes out of the woodwork and is like, yeah, you know, we plan on releasing this onto, you know, a streaming service, you kind of imagine like, oh, wow, I'm going to finally see this in a really good quality and it's going to have this and this and this. And then to basically know behind the scenes, like, oh, they're just using like, you know, this source audio because apparently the master tapes no longer exist or whatever it is. It's disappointing, but I mean, we have to be excited for whatever it is, because if they finally have kind of taken ownership of this thing that we love, I mean, who knows what's down the path for it. So I guess we just have to stay optimistic that they might do something with it.
Well, I mean, I'm also very excited for the idea of the Gwenevere version like finally being released to a larger streaming audience, and finally having the opportunity to view it instead of like Starla. Like Starla's been on Tubi for like years now. And, you know, Starla has been the version that lived on most streaming. It was the Netflix version as well.
In the early 2010s, it was on Netflix. And then, of course, it was released on DVD under the Gwenevere banner.
Yes,
but
a Gwenevere banner that looks like a Starla logo.
Yes, but it was the Starla episodes. You can see that 2006 DVD on the archive. And we also recently did an archive showcase episode on it. But that was released, we believe, only in Walmarts in the United States. So after
the DigiView dollar bin Walmart DVDs.
Although it was $6, but yes.
The deluxe version.
So after 95 and 96, the only iterations that has been re-released then is Starla on DVD under the Gwenevere logo, Starla on Netflix around like, what, 2012 or something like that?
Yeah, I want to say around there.
And then TubiTV, Starla is still available right now on TubiTV. And then now they're saying that
does Tubi have all the episodes now?
Yes, Tubi always had all the episodes, but there's Starla, and then Watch It Kid had selected Gwenevere episodes. They didn't even fill it in with like other Starla episodes. They just kind of had half the show. And then it's also available for purchase on Amazon, but it is Starla as well. Even though I think that it says Princess Gwenevere, it's not Gwenevere. So the only time Gwenevere has been released is on Watch It Kid and then on the archive. So this will be, you know, basically the second time that it's been released in its entirety, but also thanks to us. So, you know, and it's coming out on Peacock, as we mentioned. So
yeah. And I believe we heard sometime like mid to late summer is the sort of target release.
Don't. That it goes back to what I imagine is the Avalon cartoon. We're making an Avalon cartoon. Great. When does it come out? Never mind. Look, we're making an Avalon cartoon. Fantastic. When does it come out? Never mind. And it's like, oh.
Yes.
Well, okay, I won't believe it until I see it, apparently.
Right, yeah. Until my Peacock updates with Princess Gwenevere, I will.
Exactly. We will let you know at that time, but until then, it's all just hypothetical.
Yes. So if you're missing watching Jewel Riders, you can still catch it on Amazon and Tubi, like we said. It'll just be the Starla version.
Right.
For now. And, you know, fingers crossed, like, Princess Guinevere's coming back. Officially.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of the whole update as far as the video content goes. We still have clips from the episodes. I'm kind of glad that I did this now, because while I had apparently nothing else to do during the pandemic, I also took out clips, like, you know, little 3-minute clips and things like that, and also the songs from the episodes, and I posted all of that content. So all of that, anything that's basically under 7 minutes, at least that's what he said, is available on our YouTube channel still under the Jewel Writers Archive on YouTube. But the full complete episodes, unfortunately not in any language.
And I think we should also add, the storyboard story reels that we made, I believe are still available.
Yeah.
And, all the behind the scenes things that we've posted, recording sessions and all of that is all still up and available.
And if you still, I mean, of course, then our original content like the archive showcase, we also have the oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name. The Circle of Friends comic as well. The
Yes.
motion comics are coming out too. We've been showing some behind the scenes clips. So that's all coming out. It's kind of like a reboot of Jewel Riders, just with the unicorn friends, or at least the animal friends. So at least that's what we're providing right now.
Yes, I mean, there's still plenty of things coming from the YouTube channel, from the website. And, we're obviously always keeping our eye out for anything new that pops up.
Right, new stuff. A couple of other updates. So I was talking about, apparently I had time on my hands during the, quarantine time. So the things that I worked on for Jewel Writers, especially like the archive showcase episodes, the episodes themselves, the behind the scenes, all that stuff that I was editing, and also in preparation for the 25th anniversary celebration, which also happened in 2020. All of that was a huge labor of love on my part, and it was a lot of time and dedication, but it was because I had apparently just a ton of time on my hands. And so along with that, the social media part was also something as well. And if you have noticed or haven't noticed, our social media interactions have somewhat lessened over the recent months, and that has a large part to do with the fact that I took the pandemic time period to kind of organize and very meticulously schedule out media posts for our social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and YouTube. And I kind of had a plan. I mean, this is the marketing manager in me, is that, this is the way we do it. We don't just log onto our phone and upload things. Like, we actually schedule it out. That way it kind of goes in some sort of format. And I got a message from several of the platforms that we use. We were using so many of them. We were using Buffer, we were using Hootsuite, we were using, I forgot the other one. But they basically were like, the upload started failing. And I asked them, like, what's going on? And like, oh, like after 2 years, the system no longer remembers the media. Like, you have to, re-upload it. So I'm going to take this time right now to admit that this happened in October. So it's been half a year already, and I have not had time. I have not had any time to actually go back into these platforms and fix this and add the media that was supposed to be added. So there's a very good chance that those many daily posts that were supposed to go out are never going to go out, because I honestly, it's so much work to go back through and to add them. But a lot of it was images that we have from the site. It's doll photos. It's, behind the scenes stuff. It's all things that are available already on the Jewel Writers Archive website. It's videos that are already available on YouTube. It's just the fact that I wanted to also share them on Instagram and also Twitter. So if you've noticed that our interaction, it's kind of a lot, less frequent than what it has been in years past, that's the reason. So I definitely, unfortunately, I still love doing it, and I have tried to share a few things, but yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to watch something that you spent months scheduling out for, like, what, 4 years worth of posts almost?
Yeah.
To just sort of collapse.
It's very
And
frustrating.
yeah, it's defeating and it's frustrating. And, whether it gets fixed or not is like, it depends on what we have for time, and it's not, I wouldn't say it's a huge priority on getting it put
Tell
back.
my anxiety that when I lay up at night thinking I need to do this, and
Oh
I've been
my
thinking that since
gosh.
October, and like
Tell your
every
anxiety, calm down.
oh, I know. But I mean, obviously, I hope that you guys know that, you know, all the social medias have been such a labor of love, to do. And it's a lot of work, a lot of dedication, and as any content creator knows. And it's so much work that balancing everything else, and I, oh my gosh, I thank my lucky stars that YouTube, at least, it only lets you kind of update 2 years in advance. So everything that I've already been kind of updating with, it was fine, and all the videos on YouTube are still releasing. It's just the social media part that that is failing, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's like I really wish we would have known that in the beginning, that after
Oh,
2 years, Buffer would not continue
right,
updating.
right.
But
Well, here we go.
yeah,
Otherwise, I would have done it later. Like, I would have said, okay, I'll schedule it up to this point, and then at some time I'll schedule up the rest of them,
right.
But instead I sat there scheduling all the way, and, for the foreseeable future. And then anyway. So yeah. So okay, so we covered social media, we covered YouTube, we covered the copyright holder. There seems to be a lot more conversations that also, like, recent updates. Um, Anything on the top of your head that you want to share, kind of, that's coming up, or anything that you've been working on?
Well, definitely we're working on kind of a retrospective, and we'll also be recording a podcast for the 40th anniversary of Amethyst, Princess of Gemworld.
40 years.
I know, isn't that wild?
And we thought
No.
Gwenevere with 25 years was
I know.
amazing.
When we found Amethyst in 1995, it was only 12 years old, and that just makes me feel ancient right now.
Because, I mean, when we found it, yeah, it was only over a decade old, and now we're celebrating 40 years. It's been 30 years, basically. Oh my gosh.
I
My
know.
goodness. My stars.
But we've been rereading the Amethyst comics, and we're going to be having a conversation about those. It's been fun to revisit.
Mm-hmm.
And
as we've already said, join us. So please read those Amethyst comics with us. That way you kind of know what we're talking about.
Yeah, and for those who don't know what Amethyst Princess of Gemworld is, at least the original is a 12-issue maxi series from DC Comics 1983 about a jewel-themed princess of the Gem World. Mm-hmm. So I think it's like, this is relevant to your interests. Like,
exactly.
And we loved her as kids too. She was like our dollar store Gwenevere.
Yeah, she was probably the one that.
I'm sure she was more popular overall.
I was going to say she was the one that was owned by a bigger company.
Yes.
Speaking
to us.
Yes, I get you. Speaking of other properties and things that have come out, I love the fact that actually we're not Jewel Rider-ized right now. I feel like I need to bring something into the conversation. Like, do I just need to put up this box right next to me so that that this is the Princess Gwenevere show? Because I'm over here sporting my Barbie shirt and my Ariel mug, all of which are things that are coming out soon to movie theaters, and you're over here with your Disney princess.
That's the concert t-shirt. Yes,
and you got Peter and Wendy
Disney
in the background.
Bug.
Yes.
We're having a moment.
Disney just released that they're adding Peter Pan to Disney Plus, so you've got the dolls
later
back
this month. Yeah,
so it's kind of like, again, there is Jewel Rider still here. I've got socks to prove it. Like, this is Jewel Rider content, but we're just Jewel power.
But we're like just many other things too.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And I think that shows, like, what we were talking about with varied interests, as far as like Amethyst, or talking about Wonder Woman, or
Wonder Woman and the Star Riders 30th anniversary of the thing that never happened.
Well, you know later. How I love to celebrate the anniversary of things that never happened. It's one of the highlights of my life. So, But yeah, I mean, I think that was really the the meat and potatoes was just kind of letting you know about why you can't find episodes on YouTube right now. We have also updated the archive website. So if you go there and it still says, oh, these are the playlists, like the videos are no longer available. So apologies for that. But we do, look forward to seeing what happens in the future and where they're going to take this, because if they're finally taking ownership, what does that mean for the future of Jewel Riders? What does it mean for our own future? Like, like what's going on with the archive? Like how I mean, I do hope that we continue to be a source of like news and things like that, but it's like I don't know. It's all up in the air. Who knows? I still got to do 6 months worth of social media,
Oh my goodness.
editing and everything else if that even happens. Let's just say it doesn't happen. Let's just sit here and drink our coffee.
Yeah, I mean, I think I want people to just be aware that like you were not sitting there every day updating the social media because one person cannot do that every day for 8 years.
I know. 8 years! 8 years! It is 8 years!
It is 8 years!
My God! Hold on. I've got an award here to prove it. I won this award. Yes, I did. Thank you, Chris Cantor, for congrats on surviving 5 years.
That award is 3 years old at this point.
Well, this could be 3 years old. These are 28 years old, and I'm just ancient. So there you go. See, the ambulance is coming to get me.
Yes, you've fallen and you can't get up.
Exactly. I need my jewel, what is it called?
Oh, the life alert button?
Yeah.
You need a jewel alert button.
Exactly.
I've fallen into 8 years of Jewel Riders. Help me.
Exactly. Oh my goodness gracious.
So, like we said, you can continue to find us on all of our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all either at Jewel Riders or at Jewel Riders Archive. And of course, you can find us at jewelridersarchive.com. We have all of the behind the scenes scans and images and, music and all of the great behind the scenes content that we've always had is all still there for you to enjoy. Music, I think you wanted to also mention, is all still available. So if you want to listen to the soundtracks in English or French, you can definitely still hear those, which is awesome.
You can also just download them from the website as well.
Yeah, I mean,
So go and explore the website.
Download them now.
No, but I mean, if I think that's the main thing, and it's funny because I did just recently, was in a chat with a fan, and they were just asking about photos. I was like, oh yeah, like we have all of the images. So if you want, doll images or whatever it is, like they're all on the website. All you have to do is just kind of go perusing, and you can find scripts and storyboards and behind the scenes photos and other links to other videos that we have. I mean, the archive is being consistently updated. Like I know, when we have a moment, you and I are always sitting down and kind of going over the website and saying like what's been changed, what's new, what needs to be added. And like how we said, growing and continuing our interest. So for Tanko and the Guardians of the Magic, for Sky Dancers, for Dragonflies, for Skysurfer Strike Force, like those are all IPs that we also have archived in a way. I mean, even Tanko and the Guardians of the Magic, there's going to be something coming up later this year, and a video is coming to YouTube as well for the Princess Tanko Magician. So it's not regarding the show, but it is the Magician. So there's lots of things coming up.
Love this video. I 100%
it's so ridiculous.
know.
It's so ridiculous. But yeah, so it's like the content just keeps flowing. Like just when you think, oh, how much. As a friend of the archive has said, like, I'm just shocked at how much content you've been able to milk from this, from this property. Like, and it's true. I mean, I think that if I do say so myself, I mean, that's the hallmark, I think, of a good content creator, is the fact that you are able to kind of like always think of new things to share or, things or whatever it is. And the fan was like, I wish all IPs had been archived this way, or had this type of representation right now on the internet. So we continue to hear positive feedback. So thank you for everyone sharing their stories. Except for you who say that you dreamt this up. I do not want to hear that anymore. The triggering moment.
A documentary on Netflix called Bathtubs Over Broadway about industrial musicals. And in that, the guy says, everything needs a guy. The guy who just, if you want to know about the thing, you just go to them.
You're the guy.
We're that for Jewel Riders, and I've accepted that. Like,
because kind of,
if there isn't, then that stuff is just forgotten, and nobody would ever see this material, and people who love it would not have access to it. So, we are very happy to continue keeping up the website and all the archived materials that we have there.
It's very Coco-esque. Like, you have to remember, because if you stop remembering, then the thing disappears.
I mean, a little bit. Like, how many other cartoons from the same era there's nothing for them, I think about Tanko. It's a blip. But because it came to us at the same time the Jewel Riders came, we've held on to it, like memory-wise. Right. And because of that, we're the only place that was able to get a complete version of the series. We found the lost episodes, and maybe they're not the greatest quality, but they're there.
But there may be something more there, too.
Yes.
In the future. Far future.
The far future. The 30th anniversary.
Exactly. But yeah, I think that's the main takeaway, is that, this has just been such a labor of love, and we enjoy doing it. We enjoy sharing memories with you, and I know that you guys enjoy it as well. And so thanks so much for continuing to tune in. Thanks for sharing your memories. Recently, I've been sharing some vintage artwork, because you just recently did a post with Stormy about her memories of the early fandom.
Yeah.
And just to see that artwork is so amazing, because this stuff, it's like, that totally looks like my art from the 90s. Like, everyone apparently drew this way. Like, this was the art style that everyone was drawing. And I think that just shows how enduring these characters are, that, like, people have been drawing them since their childhood. Like, I know that there's obviously, like, a lot of other properties out there, Barbie, Disney, whatever, like, that has a huge fandom. But I think that Jewel Riders really has a strong knit, a very small, community, but strong nonetheless. And that's, I think, the most amazing part about all of this.
Yeah, it's like, a little 2-season cartoon from 1995, still inspiring artwork from people, beautiful artwork, like, in the zine that we published for the 25th anniversary, like, we have some just absolutely gorgeous pieces of fan art in there. And I'm just like, these people are so talented. Like, it's amazing.
And the fact that they're willing, like, some of those also came from just contests that we hosted on the archive. Like, these people are willing to just do this artwork totally out of love. It's not like it was a submission. I mean, it's not a commission. It wasn't a commission. They're not trying to sell this artwork. It was just solely done because they love the show and they wanted to do art for it. And we have another fan who, just recently, they were redrawing Moonglow, and they just recently did a little character where they were like, oh, I think that this could be Max's little brother or something, like, and they were just, kind of like in their head con, like they were just kind of like making up these additional characters. And it's like, the fact that this still inspires people to be creative, I mean, even with the motion comic, like the fact that we're kind of have this little reboot of, like, showing the characters, like, it's really fun. And I love that about it. And we will continue to share content for the foreseeable future, at least. But, that's just kind of where we're at right now. Still bummed about the YouTube videos, but
Yes, of course. Of course. Well, I think that about wraps it up. So thank you all so much for listening or watching if you're seeing the video version of this. I think it's our very first video version of a podcast that we've done. So
Yes.
um, happy to have you here with us in the circle of friends, as always.
Yes.
And like we said before, if you ever want to find us, you can find us on any of the social media platforms. You can find this podcast on any major podcast platform or at our home on Podbean. And like we always like to say, friends together,
Friends
friends
forever.
forever.
Yay!
All right, bye everyone.
Bye. Have an amazing magical
Jewel
day.
power.
There you go.
All
Right.
right,
Yes, I was gonna say it is a Jewel Riders podcast. I need to make sure
that's
to put
right. It's
that
not
in
a
there.
Barbie podcast or a Disney
Exactly.
podcast or
As
anything
as
else.
much as we love all this other stuff too, there it goes. Yes, I got my legacy CD over here listening to the soundtrack. And I've even got the original. I know I'm just taking up time now. I got the original 1989 CD as well because who has physical media anymore,
It's just you.
Okay. Bye everyone.
All
Have
right,
a great day.
bye.
By the magic of the Sunstone, you're tuned into the Jewel Riders Archive.